This time on Cars in Motion, Firestone airbags. Okay, so what we're doing today is we're putting the load helper Firestone airbags in my truck. You saw it a little while ago, but I'll take you over to the bench and we'll see, because you assemble some of it on the bench and then we're gonna throw it in the truck. There's a little bit of drilling involved. I've kind of cheated a bit here. I've familiarized myself with the kit by doing the driver's side, but now we're gonna do the passenger side and I'll show you how to do it. So right here's where we're gonna be working after I assemble the bag. We have to remove the bump stop. The bag is gonna sit right there. There's a little bit of drilling in the frame here, and then we will figure it out. So like I said, we're working on my truck again. And over here we have the bags, or bag. This is half the kit because I have installed the other half of the kit. So to kind of streamline this process, upper bracket, bag, holder, lower bracket, and that is the frame support. I'll show you where that goes. That's fun. And then all the hardware involved. Like I say, a little bit of drilling. I'll set up and assemble the bag, and then we're gonna throw it in there. Okay, so I've assembled the bag. The upper and lower brackets are on, and I have everything. You can see the carriage bolts are in there too. I have everything sort of loose so that I can drill the holes. What I'm gonna do is, you want this directly in line with the axle. So I know it's hard to tell, but you want it there because that's where all your load's gonna be centered, right? So what I did was, you could do this on jack stands, and I did this so it's a little bit easier to show what's going on. What you're needing to do is you need to drill holes where a frame bracket comes through. So those holes there will be in line up with the frame there, and I'll show you in a minute, but just to give myself a little bit better of an idea of how to get that as a guide, I'm gonna use this as a template, this hole here. Instead of using jack stands, I've put weight on the vehicle, on the axle with the transmission jack in order to push it up, in order to kind of put this in place. What I'm going to do is, you need it kind of in place loose in order to do this. So I'm going to put a block of wood there in order to push it up so I can get an idea of where to drill. Got those holes pretty much drilled, figured out, and this is why it's going to be a little interesting. This guy right here. So what this is where everything clamps to, with those two bolts. So it goes on the other side, the opposite side of the frame. So I'll bring you over here and see what's going on. We're going to go under here. Okay, so I chose this side because it's clear. There's a little bit easier to see what's going on. The other side is not so easy. So what happens is this guy here, you tap it inside the frame rail. I know there's no, hang on, just let me get it started there. So you tap it inside the frame rail there. It'll take a little persuasion, that's why it is actually flared on the edge. But I'll show you, get my light. It's flared so you can tap it in, it will flex. I doubt very much on an older vehicle you'd be able to get it in, like just sliding it in. May take a little persuasion. I'm gonna tap that in, get it square, and then we're gonna see what's going on. So, getting that in there was a lot easier than I thought it was gonna be. The other side was much tougher. Hard to see, it's over there. But, there it is. It lines up. It strengthens that part of the frame. Now, it's because it's a C-channel frame, right? It's not boxed, so it's a good thing. So, it's all loose now. I'm happy with where it's going to be sitting. Now, I'll get it all cinched back together, and then we're going to run some lines. You can see that's where the line is going to come out, and then you got to put it in a spot where you can actually get air to it, compressed air, in order to fill these bags. So I'll get it all cinched together, and then we'll talk about putting the lines on. Okay, so I'm ready to start running some lines. Now, Firestone gives you this hard line. It's just, there's something that really needs to be noted, and it's not really clear when it's on some of the instructions, but the instructions vary. So what you need to do is, before you stuff it into the fitting, because that's all you're doing is you're pushing it into the fitting, and then there's barbs that hold it in place. The end of the line needs to be cut flush. It needs to be incredibly straight. So you need to have a very sharp razor blade in order to do this. Now, you don't want it cut on an angle, you don't want to pinch this line, you need it cut completely straight. Push down on it, it'll cut straight. Very sharp razor blade, that's all you need to do. So I'm gonna put that in there, and then I'm gonna show you the kind of tricky way that I'm gonna put the fittings on the bumper in this case, because there's no real spot for me to do that. And I don't want them hanging underneath the truck, so I'll show you how I run them, and then we're gonna show you where they go. Okay, so what I've done here, put that line, I was gonna run it over the spare, but I like this better. What I did was, I ran it, I put the fitting in, I put it in the fitting, right there, and then I ran it, gave it enough slack to come out, and go under the frame, and then attach it to the frame here. Now, I don't have any exhaust to deal with here. That's the biggest thing. A lot of trucks and vehicles will have exhaust hopping over the axle like this, but mine, I've run mine right out the side. So, and it kicks out in front of the rear tire. So it's making my life a little easier. So I've run it inside, all against the frame, not making sure you're not touching any suspension components or anything like that. And then out, and I've run it out where the license plate comes out. Now, I've run it all as one piece, meaning that I know I have, like, you need to leave a little bit extra slack. You don't want this tight. You don't want it pulling against the fitting. So run your first line, run it all like this, all the way where you're gonna do, and then give yourself lots of slack, because they give you lots of extra line. then cut it flush, and then run the other side the exact same way. And I'll show you how the fittings that you attach your airline to go together in just a second. Okay, so like I said, I got the fittings, I got the lines coming through, and Firestone gives you these fittings, right? Now, they use the same style of barb, the barb fitting that the lines fit into. Now, unthread this little nut, that's what actually holds it on. Now, my license plate is not here. Oh, I dropped that. So, grab that. So, my license plate would normally be here, but I'm gonna show you for the sake of not showing my plate. You will see how this is done. So, you can get behind the bumper easy on these trucks. So, pull your line out. This is important to get this cut nice and flush to a point where you're happy with it. Take your fitting, put it on there, make sure it's not going anywhere. Now, kind of feed it back there behind. Now, what you need to do is, you can stay back there, but take your little nut that they give you. Now, I'm not going to tighten it all the way up, because what you normally do is tighten that up, and then your plate would be here, right? So I'm not going to tighten it all the way up, but I'm going to bring it down once we're ready. I'm going to put some wheels on, and then we're going to see the bags in action. So that's pretty much all there is to it for the Firestone Ride airbags on the 94 GMC Sierra. The truck looks better, it's got a better look. I have the torsion bars cranked, so it was kind of raked. I changed the leaf springs about a year ago, and it was still kind of sitting with the rear end down a bit, so I wanted to do the bags for when I have something heavy in the back, or I'm towing a small trailer or whatever it is. It's just a half ton, but I wanted to do the bags to level it out, make it look a little bit better, and I've always wanted to do them. So I've done a ton of these, I've never done them on my own truck. So this was just a kind of general idea on how to do it, some tips and tricks on how you can do a bunch of different vehicles, but they are specific to the vehicle, so this is general. This is may not apply to your F-150 or your Dodge Ram or whatever it is, right? So this is the one I wanted to do on my own truck, and it was the only one available because the other companies don't make it. So, but the Firestone one is very good, so don't worry about that. The quality is good. If I need to be more specific about anything, just leave your comments down below, and I can always answer you guys. I can show you more of it once the truck is kind of ready and everything, how to check for leaks, anything like that. If you're having any struggles, just let me know. In the meantime, if you want to see more stuff like this, please like this video and then subscribe to Cars in Motion and hit the bell so you get notified when we have new videos coming up. Until then, I will see you next time.